way. Hey, rock the cornet, come on, Hey, rock the
Welcome to Upper Lafayette on the Move, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jan Swift, and I'm really delighted to welcome today's guest, Julie LaFleur, Executive Director of FoodNet. Julie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Julie and I met several years back through the Earthshare Gardens, and I know now that you've come on since August 2014 with FoodNet. And I had gotten an email recently about the need for more food and supplies in the warehouse. And I thought, here we are, Easter week. We're the Monday right after Easter. It might be a good time to talk to people about what we can all do to help those less fortunate. So, Julie, before we get into what your mission is, would you give us a background about your education and your experience in our community?
Okay. I actually live in Scott. I've been living there for 18 years, and I'm a graduate of USL and UL. I have two undergraduate degrees from UL, and the first one was in finance, and then I went back later and get a degree in child and family studies. I also have a paralegal certificate from
Philadelphia.
Yes. The Institute of Paralegal Training in Philadelphia.
You worked as a paralegal?
I did for a short time. I worked for Entergy in New Orleans. I worked as a paralegal, and then got married and moved to Texas and then moved back. And so I've been working in the nonprofit field for approximately the last 20 years here in the Lafayette area. I
have to say, from my experience with Upper Lafayette, once you get into the nonprofit world and you see the need in our community, we're a 501c6. We're not a nonprofit, charitable nonprofit such as FoodNet, but there is such a need in our community for people that you don't really see on a daily basis. And I was really gratified to see your background. Tell us about your background. I know you also worked with Acadiana Cares.
That's correct. Approximately 18 years ago, I worked with Acadiana Cares. I've worked with people with HIV and AIDS. I've also worked with other nonprofits where I've worked as a case manager with, I worked for the state for a little while with families with small children and trying to help them to fill their needs, get their needs met. I've also worked with the homeless here in Lafayette. That was the position that I had right before I came to FoodNet. I was working with the homeless.
Right. So you started with FoodNet in August.
Actually,
2014.
July,
excuse me.
That's okay.
2014.
That's correct.
Yeah, and tell us, what is FoodNet's mission in our community?
Our mission basically is to provide food to people who have a genuine need of food in our community. And what we do is we try to engage community partners and engage the community to assist us in that. So I look at it as getting food to people who need food. That's the basic bottom line. FoodNet, a little history, was started, we're in our 29th year now.
I know, it's incredible.
With FoodNet, and it was started by Ms. Marcelle Citron and in 1986. And she saw a need in the community then that has come full circle, and we see it again today, where the price of oil dropped tremendously in 1986, and she saw people who were in need of food, and it was she felt like she needed to do something. And what she did is she got a group of friends together and said, we need to do something about this, and held a food drive and started collecting food and getting it to people who were in need of food. And so
I have to give a disclaimer. We honored Marcelle Citron about 3 years ago. Upper Lafayette honors a Philanthropist of the Year. And the Citron family is such a big supporter of Upper Lafayette. But Marcelle, single-handedly, when she would see things, and she still does that. I mean, Marcelle is still very strong in our community. But when she saw a need, she didn't just sit back. She stood up and really engaged people to help. And I had moved here back in 1983 and actually had a job with a law firm in the oil and gas industry. And by 1986, it was bad. really bad. Lawyers were losing jobs, oil and gas people were leaving the states. It was bad.
And
The construction industry was suffering. People were going bankrupt. It was a tough time for a lot of people that never thought they'd have a tough time.
That's correct. People who had always worked and never thought they'd be laid off, they were, and they didn't know where to turn. They had never asked for assistance before,
Right.
and so it was in those times where FoodNet was first founded, and so here we are 29 years later, and
Yeah.
we're kind of in the same situation, but it's not as bad. The Lafayette economy has diversified, but there's still people being laid off, and still people are going to be in the situation where they're going to need, where they will need.
Right.
And so,
with the oil and gas sector, you know, having some issues, it seems like some of them may be able to find other positions or move, but a lot of people in our economy that are maybe down the food chain some from the when the money gets spent off, like the hairdressers, people that maybe don't have insurance, people that their clients were oil and gas sector people. Some of those sectors could end up needing help. They don't have a safety net to fall back on.
that's correct. It is when something like this happens, it is a ripple effect, and the people who are first hired are the ones who are first fired,
Right.
and so and those are the people who don't, the salaries are not as high as others, and so you're correct, those people don't have a safety net, and so that's where FoodNet and other agencies like ours are there to help.
Well, let's talk about FoodNet. Where are you located in Lafayette?
We have an office and a warehouse at 217 Surrey Street. We're right behind the old Pontiac Point, where we say where the Mardi Gras parades line up. We're right in that right in that neighborhood. We have a warehouse, and we're open there 4 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 to 1.
Okay.
So it's a large warehouse. People drop off donations there. And we have three food pantry distribution centers where food goes out to. So the food comes into our warehouse. We have volunteers who sort the food, who bag the food, and then it goes out to 3 FoodNet distribution pantries.
And where are those located?
One we operate, which is located on Buchanan Street, downtown Lafayette, next to First Baptist Church.
Okay.
And so we operate that one. A second one is operated by Progressive Baptist Church Outreach on Simcoe Street, and they've been a partner with FoodNet for many years. And the third is United Christian Outreach, which is on Carmel Avenue. And so those are the 3 food pantries that distribute the FoodNet food.
And so you talked about bagging distribution. I don't want to jump ahead, but what do people get if they need something? I want to talk later about qualifications, but what do you get if you need some food and you're not sure where to turn? Like if they come to you, what type of sustenance would they receive?
Okay. Well, we have staples in our bag that we try to, every month, we try to keep it consistent. So things like, we try to put protein in with peanut butter and tuna and canned meats. We have soups and canned vegetables and canned fruit. We also have what we call meals in a can, something that's easy that you can just open up, heat up, like chili or beef stew or ravioli or something like that. We also pasta, tomato sauce, things that you can quickly make a meal with.
Without having to have a lot of ingredients.
That's correct. Cornbread mix, dry beans, soak some beans and cook them, and so we do provide other proteins, other meats, and eggs whenever we can. We do
eggs, like you do fresh.
Well,
foods.
This year we're receiving grant monies for additional protein to put additional protein with our food bags.
Yeah.
And so we received a couple of grants, and we're writing for more grants this year. And that was our goal, was to add more protein into the diets of our clients, because we knew that they were not receiving as much
Right.
protein from us. And so, so we're, I'm about to order some eggs and order, because we have some grant funding coming in.
Right.
So.
Well, I mentioned to you off camera, I'd gotten an email about the warehouse being low. I've been in your warehouse. I don't know if it's air conditioned now.
No, it is not.
It is really, it's for people that work in there as volunteers, it's tough. I'm sure it's freezing in the winter.
It is cold
and
in the
it is
winter.
hot as Hades by May. I mean, it's a tough place to work. And so, is that where people drop off your the donations?
Yes.
On Surrey Street, is that where they go if they want to? Like, if I'm a mom at home and I want to do something, I want to go buy some food and help people.
Yes, we do take donations, as I said, 4 days a week at our warehouse location. We also have community market baskets in some supermarkets.
I've seen those,
in Lafayette, and so in Adrian's on Congress Street, Albertson's on Johnston Street, and Albertson's on Congress and Ambassador, Walmart on Ambassador, Super One on Willow and Evangeline Thruway, and then Super One on Ambassador.
So when people are shopping, they can just throw in a couple of extra cans and then
yes,
put them in the basket.
Yes, and we do pick up weekly from those baskets, and so donations come in that way. Also, we have companies, schools, businesses who do food drives for us, and so they'll do a food drive and then they'll drop it off. Or if it's a large quantity, we have a van to go and pick up, so we can pick up large donations.
Right, and I guess the big drive is in December. You want to talk about that at the Cajun Dome?
It is. Our large, we have 3 major food drives a year, actually. The first one is the National Association of Letter Carriers. So the postal workers in Lafayette Parish pick up food, and it's May 9th this year. It's the Saturday before Mother's Day. And so people will put food in their mailbox or on their mailbox, and then when the letter carrier comes by, they'll pick up the food, and it is brought to the Bertrand Street Post Office. And so that's our first major food drive. If there's a major election during the year, the Rotary Club of Lafayette will sponsor Election Day food drive.
So
and
this
so
year
this
is
year
a
we
major
have
election.
we have the governor's race, and so in October. So that'll be our second major food drive. And
so where will people leave it for that?
leave it at the polls when they go to
elections?
vote. They bring food, and then we pick it up from every polling site in Lafayette Parish. So that's like
Your
40,
volunteers?
48. Yes, we do have volunteers who, the Rotary Club assists us, and then we have volunteers in our staff. And then the third one is our Food for Families food drive in December. And so, like I said, this year will be the 29th year, and it's at the Cajun Dome. And so that one we partner with 17 other food pantries in the outlying areas. And so from everywhere from Mamu to Morgan City throughout Acadiana. And so Abbeville, Ville Platte, Opelousas, the smaller areas, the December food drive brings in probably 40 to 45% of the food they're going to get all year.
For the whole year?
For the
and
whole
most of
year.
them are, their pantry, like they're safe for a year or two, like they can sit on the shelf, most of the donations.
Yes, most of the donations. And so, so we allow them to actually have the food drive on the same day that we have. So yes.
That's wild.
So it's wonderful that we're able to do that.
Yeah, and I think about Marcelle, just her heart starting all this. What other kind of things should people contribute? Is it only food, or do you look for paper towels and staples for the house, like cleaning supplies, or is that too far afield for
No,
what you do?
we do accept non-food items because a lot of our clients do need that. And so we do accept non-food items. We separate that from the food. We weigh everything that comes into our warehouse, so everything that comes in we weigh, so we know the weight of our donations that are coming in and going out. And we separate the food from the non-food. And so we do, when we have non-food items like cleaning supplies, tissue paper, toilet paper, that kind of thing, then shampoo even, we send
Soap
it out.
and things,
Yes,
so it's okay to send
yes,
out?
we send that out to our clients also.
Do you have to weigh the donations, like I guess to get grants? Do you have to show how effective you are to qualify for grants, or why do you weigh the food? Like what is that?
Well, for
serve?
accountability, we are audited, and so
By
well, I mean, we have in our
By the
regular
grants?
audit process,
Okay.
yes.
By the
And
grant
also for
process.
grants to show how much food is coming in and how much is distributed and how many clients we're serving. So on average, each month, including children, we serve in between 2,100 and 2,500 clients a month. And we, at the end of the year, we distribute over in between 200 and 250,000 pounds of food.
Wow. So Julie, if let's say it's a mom, a single mom with 3 kids, who qualifies to get a food distribution from FoodNet? And does each person qualify, or is it just the head of the household? How does it work?
It goes by the household and how many people are in the household. So our qualifications are the same as the SNAP program, the federal food stamp program. And so if you qualify for the SNAP program, then you qualify for our program. It depends, and the eligibility as far as income goes by the number of people in the household. So people are referred to our program through 232 Help. They assist us in the initial eligibility requirements for our clients, and then they are assigned to one of our food pantries from there. And they our food is supplemental. It won't get you through a whole month, but it'll get you through a week, or we can have 2 weeks. And so people come and they can request when they need, and some people need every month, some people once every 3 or 4 months, or some people once every 6 months. We do have emergency food bags for emergency situations, a house fire, loss of a job, death of a family member, things like that, crisis situations that come up and you're in need of food. We do have...
So you can just get it without having to qualify if you're really in a crisis?
Yes, that's correct.
You were telling me that there's really a big need, elderly people. You serve a lot of the elderly population.
We just did a grant, and on that, we stated that approximately 24% of our clients are elderly. And a lot of them are people who had never had to ask for assistance before, so it's very difficult for them to do that. We get calls from family members, from neighbors who see their elderly, that they're not eating, or they don't have food in their house, that they maybe just have a small amount of food. And so we get calls from people who are concerned for their elderly
so they might just be on
relatives.
Social Security or veterans benefits or something. And
yeah, so a lot of people who are on Social Security, by the end of the month, that's when they've run out of food, or they're running out of food.
Well, their medications cost so much,
They
too,
do, and a lot of people have to choose between...
And their pets.
Between buying their medicine or their food. And so we're able to assist them. We also have... for the elderly, some can't get out. We have some older clients. We don't deliver, but they do have a proxy, so you can get a neighbor or a caretaker. We have some home health people who come and pick up for their clients, or a relative who can be your proxy and come and pick up your food for you.
So if I'm contributing, I know this sounds kind of mercenary, but if you're bringing quite of a good, donation, do you get a receipt that shows that you've given a charitable
contribution? Yes, we ask everyone who donates if they would like a donation receipt letter, and yes, that's no problem at all.
Do you need volunteers to help you in the warehouse?
We do. We have volunteers who come on a weekly basis. We have groups who we schedule.
Like who? Like who comes to help,
Okay, we have a lot of school groups who come.
Children?
Yes. We have some homeschool groups. We have April. We're in April now. It's volunteer month, so we have some businesses who
Good timing.
who are scheduled. So we have college groups. Like this week we have a business. Next week we have a college group coming in. At the end of the month, we have another school group. So
Right.
we have a variety of different volunteers, and we also have retired.
Well, I want to stop and say something to the camera. I've been in the warehouse a few times, and I've got to say, if people are donating food, a lot of time is spent in the warehouse going through and separating out food that is not fit for human consumption. And I know people don't mean to do this, but sometimes they'll donate food that is so old, it's separated. And I really was shocked. It's like I remember seeing ketchup bottles where, you know, it had separated. It was probably 5 years over the expiration date. And it's not really an opportunity to clean out your pantry. It's an opportunity to share wholesome food that's within its food life. And it just surprised me that people would do that. I don't know if they weren't realizing that.
Yeah,
You know,
when
that
people
wasn't
donate, that's
appropriate.
kind of one of the things they do is kind of clean out the
Clean out the
pantry, and
pantry.
they don't really look at the
So
expiration
check the dates. I mean, we've all, sometimes I'll do this and I'll go through my pantry and realize, oh my gosh, I thought I just bought it and it was 5 years ago.
Yes.
You know, like some kind of cool mustard or something. That really needs to go in the trash can.
Yes.
And I'm telling on myself, but it's not good to donate food that's not
No, and you're
within
correct.
a
We
viable
do-
lifespan.
Yes,
So,
and we do go through, and we have, because we don't want our clients to be
No.
sick, and so we.
and I don't think people intend for that. I think they're just
No.
thinking, I'm just going to bring food and, you know, kind of a win-win.
Yeah, that is one thing that we have to do though, is
Yeah.
go through and look at that.
Because I know that takes a lot of your time out of your
It
volunteer
does take
hours.
some time with the
Yeah.
volunteers. Yeah.
I don't know if I've asked you everything. We have a couple of minutes left. What else? Was there anything that we should have covered that you would like for people to know about FoodNet this year? Do you have any goals for collections or?
Well, as I said, our next major collection is the National
9th.
Letter Carriers, and that is May 9th. And we are in need of volunteers for that day. It's a Saturday afternoon from 2 until 8 p.m. And we have the assistance of United Way is helping
great.
us with
Yeah.
signing up volunteers, and they're great. Every year they help us with it. And so April is one of the months out of the year that our inventory usually goes low. So we're trying to bring in a little bit of food so we can make it to the end of April, so that
For the food drive that's
yeah,
coming on in May.
our food drives, our next major food drive.
So let's talk about your location again. The best place to donate food.
We're located at 217 Surrey Street, and our hours are from 8 to 1, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we have the community market bins in some of the supermarkets,
Okay.
and so you can look for those.
And if I want to call you or look up information, is there a website?
Yes, our website is FoodNet, foodnetacadiana.com.
Okay.
And our phone number is 337-232-3663.
Say that one more time, please.
Okay, 337-232-3663.
I just can't think of a better thing to do than to help our fellow man or woman or child. And I just think what you do is, it's really life-changing, and it's humbling too, because when you give, you realize how much you have. And
Yes.
I think being in a place of gratitude and helping others, it's going to come back, because one day we may all need some assistance.
Yes, we'll need, we may not need food, but we'll need assistance
We'll need
in some way.
something. We'll need something. And I think by
Yes.
giving to others, it's there's just nothing better in life. So-
And food is a basic need. It's
Yeah.
something that everyone needs.
And I want to thank also Marcel Citron, again, one of our Upper Lafayette matriarchs. She and the Hub City family have supported Upper Lafayette so much, and they've supported our community. So,
They have.
yeah. Well, Julie LaFleur, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
So much for joining us today, but also thank you for what you've done for our community. We're
You're welcome.
grateful for you. And I want to thank everybody watching the show today. Thank you for watching Upper Lafayette on the Move. You can see this on our website also at upperlafayette.com. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Upper Lafayette on the Move. I'm Jan Swift.